for a safe trip until you make it out there.
وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. Whosoever of you sees an evil action, let him change it with his hand. And if he is not able to do so, then with his tongue. And if he is not able to do so, then with his heart. And that is the weakest of Iman.
I know that justice is indivisible. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Destined to go to Israel, came to the port in Oakland, California, and today the port in Oakland, California has been shut down.
The Prophet ﷺ said, Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. Whosoever of you sees an evil action, let him change it with his hand. And if he is not able to do so, then with his tongue. And if he is not able to do so, then with his heart. And that is the weakest of Iman.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Behind me, you have over 200 martyrs that are represented by their families. 200 martyrs whose stories were never told in the mainstream media, posters that you have not seen on the light poles here in Washington, D.C., or in New York, or in Chicago, or in Dallas. And all of us represent now over 36,000 people that have either been martyred or that are under the rubble. And I want you to appreciate that in this country, this isn't our first protest. We have taken to the streets in the name of one victim of state violence for months at a time. If we were to take to the streets for every single casualty and every single person that is under the rubble for the last 3 months, it would take us 100 years to honor each and every single one of those victims. And if we were to collectively take to the streets for the rest of our lives, for just one of the people on these posters, for just one wa'la dahduh, it would be worth it. That despite all of the Israeli propaganda over these years, have never relented in standing by our side and saying that we will not go home until every Palestinian can go home. I want to capture not just the cruelty of the moment. I want to capture the insanity of the moment. How low is the threshold? How low the barometer that calling for a ceasefire is too much for some politicians and media commentators and people who claim to be for human rights, with the backdrop of 10,000 murdered children? How low is the threshold of genocide? You have still not found it in your moral conscience to call for a ceasefire. You are heartless. And we say that if with the backdrop of the occupation an apartheid that enabled the genocide in the first place, you still have not called for the end of the decades-long atrocities against our people. You are shameless. And if you have failed to see our humanity, we have not failed to see your hypocrisy. And you've made it clear that shipping lanes in Yemen are more important to you than our lives. And you've made it clear that you want our votes without hearing our voices. But we're going to make you hear our voice today on behalf of all of these families and all of the martyrs and all of those that are still standing strong. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., we charge you with genocide. We charge you with genocide.